in a circle with their chemotherapies kind of hooked up onto them, and they looked like they were dying. There was no energy. They had pale skin. They were so skinny. There was a horrible smell in the room. And I said, how is this the cure for cancer? It looked like everyone was just dying. And so I started really researching cancer. And one of the things that people don't realize is that anxiety and stress can actually cause cancer. It can cause heart disease. It can cause Alzheimer's. So stress is one of the most, it's like the silent killer because people don't realize the internal impact. So what we're going to review are all these ways to reduce stress. For her, one of the first things I had her do was quit her job. Her job was very stressful. In fact, that was the thing that caused this whole pain in her ovaries. Was a very stressful day at work. She's like, oh, I have this horrible pain. She called me, went to the hospital, and that's when they found the tumor. And it was all because she was all stressed out. That's when her pain came. So what we did is we quit her job. We actually moved out of New York and we went to New Jersey. So I live in New Jersey now. So we moved out of the city and moved to the suburbs where we're in nature, where, with the birds, and we got the trees and the big yard. And so it was very calming and relaxing rather than, the city, which is very stressful there. We went on vacation. I took her on a vacation probably every 3 weeks. I took her to the Caribbean. I took her to Europe. I just wanted her to relax. Besides doing all the really important stuff for cancer, which is getting rid of sugar, getting rid of chemicals. So we got rid of all her makeup. We cured the water, like where we put a filter on the shower, under the sink. We got rid of all the plastics. We got stainless steel. We got rid of all the aluminum foil. So we got everything we could think of, all the candles and the sprays and the smells and perfumes. And we took rid of all the chemicals, all the chemicals in the foods. We went completely organic. So we really just changed our whole lifestyle. We started praying. I'm actually Jewish, but I went to church with her. I was like, I'll pray to Jesus, what's going to get her better. Anything to get her better, we tried. So I prayed, in all the different religions, and I prayed spirituality, and I healed her from within, and I gave her my healing power. I would take in power from the sun and just heal her. We did visualizations where she would think every time she peed out the cancer. Every time she sweated out the cancer. Every time she pooped out the cancer. Every time she had her period, she bled out the cancer. It was always getting rid of the toxins, and we visualized it. I even showed her a picture of what her tumor looked like so she could visualize getting rid of it. The mind is very powerful. So whatever you believe you could do, you could do. If you get cancer and then you think, oh my God, why me? I'm a good person. I'm going to die of cancer. This is horrible. I don't deserve this. Then you're going to die of cancer. But if you say, I don't care what that doctor says, I'm going to get healthy, I'm going to get strong, I'm going to build my immune system. If you believe that you're going to get better, you're going to get better. The mind is very powerful. It's more powerful than any doctor or any pill you could ever take, but you have to use it for good, right? In reference to anxiety, people cause their own anxiety. They make stressful situations out of non-stressful situations. So one of the ways to make anxiety less is to actually put yourself in a stressful situation. So it's like you're building that muscle, right? Right now, I heard someone say, oh, it's cold. You put on your coat, right? If it's hot, you take off your coat, right? It's cold, you turn on the heat, or if it's hot, you turn on the air conditioner. If you're hungry, you eat. If you're thirsty, you drink. So it's actually too easy life right now. I know if you watch the news, it might not seem like life is easy. It might seem like it's the worst time in the world, but no, it's so easy right now. It's very safe. You can get food whenever you want. It's like literally you have shelter, you got clothes on your back. Life is very easy. So we have to create our own anxiety, or else you're always going to be stressed. You'll make it up yourself. So what I do, at the end of my shower, I turn on the cold and I suffer. And I even scream like, this morning, 7 o'clock in the morning, my neighbors probably think I'm crazy, but I'm going in this cold shower, I'm screaming, But guess what? I'm going to be so less anxious today because I suffered this morning. I went out and I ran in a short t-shirt. It was cold this morning. but I suffered.
37 degrees.
Yeah, yeah. But I suffered. It was, it was the first day, like what is really cold, but my brain gets stronger when I do that. I know it seems kind of weird to reduce anxiety. You got to cause more stress, but it's like you're building your muscle. So you got to strengthen that anxiety muscle. All right. Now, there's ways through what's called functional neurology where you can rewire your brain and get yourself out of a stressful anxiety type of mode. Okay. So there's two areas of your nervous system that are automatic. So it's called the autonomic nervous system because it's automatic. It's called your sympathetic and your parasympathetic nervous system. People who have trouble with sleep, with insomnia, with anxiety, who are stressed out, their heart's beating, they're going to have an increase in sympathetic nervous system. And what that means is you're in the fight or flight mode. Now, the fight or flight mode is important if you're actually in a fight or, the lion's going to come eat you, right? And if you're in the jungle, right, or you're in the safari and the lion comes, what's your instincts? What do you think you would do? You would run? I don't know if I would do that. You think you're going to outrun a lion? What would you do if the lion? So you're going to fight him? I don't know about that. I don't know if you'd win a fight versus a lion. So if we're not going to run and we're not going to fight, what do we think most people do? There's a third one. What did you say?
Play dead.
Yeah, play dead or freeze. Right? You freeze. Oh, but I hope he doesn't see me. If I move, he might see me. So you just freeze. You just stay there. You might be sniffing around. Don't move. Just hopefully just leaves you alone. So it's called the fight, flight, or freeze. And that could create other things. If you're in the fight, you're going to get muscle tension. You're going to clench your jaw. You're going to get TMJ. You're going to get headaches. You get stressed. Your neck's going to bother you. Your back's going to bother you because you're always tense. You're ready for that fight. Or you're going to get frozen and you're just going to do nothing. And you're not going to take any action. You're going to sit at home. You're going to get depressed. You're just going to think worse and worse. So you get frozen when you do nothing. So that's not good either. So we got to get you out of that fight or flight mode, more into a relaxed state. Anyone know what the opposite of the fight or flight mode is called? The rest and digest. So instead of being in the fight or flight, we have to be in the rest and digest. So if we're in the rest and digest, what that means, you're going to be in a more relaxed state. Your anxiety is going to decrease. Your digestion is going to improve. All the organs are going to improve. Your heartbeat's going to relax. You're going to start breathing more relaxed. So you ever hear the expression, we only use 90%, we only use 10% of our brain? That's not true. We use our whole brain, but the 10% is just that what we're aware of. The 90% is happening automatically, right? So you don't think, oh, my heart has to beat faster, or my blood pressure has to go up, or my digestive enzymes have to be released, or my thyroid's got to affect this hormone, or my bladder has to release the urine. All this stuff happens automatically. So 90% of your body's and brain's actions are happening without you even realizing it. If I voluntarily go to get this water, I'm thinking, okay, I got to move. That's my 10%. Is when I know what I'm doing, I know I'm speaking to you, I'm making sure I'm in the screen. So that's all the voluntary, but 90% is going on without even me realizing it. So when you're in that fight or flight mode and you're not in the rest and digest, 90% of your body's not working. And it's going to affect your urination. It's going to affect your sexual function. It's going to affect your digestion, your cardiovascular health, your respiration, your energy, your adrenal gland. So it's going to affect all these things that normally we don't have to think about. So if you're stressed and you're not sleeping and you're anxious, you're actually damaging your organs at the same time. So what we have to do is rewire your brain, and it's called neuroplasticity. And we rewire your brain and we say, okay, you're not in the jungle and the lion's not trying to eat you and nobody's trying to rob you and nobody's trying to rape you or mug you or stuff that would really put you in that fight or flight mode. So if we're not in that fight or flight mode, our brain needs to be wired to match our environment. And we have to say, okay, I'm in this relaxed state. So if you guys are taking notes, I'm going to give you a few little exercises that you can do at home to influence what's called your parasympathetic nervous system to stimulate your vagus nerve, which is going to get you in a relaxed state. I know I'm speaking a lot of big words. If I'm going too fast, just slow me down and say, what does that mean? So to stimulate this vagus nerve, one thing you could do very easy is you gargle, and you gargle intensely. And we know this through neuroscience. So we do these functional MRIs. When people gargle, we'll see that vagus nerve light up. Instead of being dead like black color, it's red and orange and yellow. So it lights up on the MRI when you gargle. And the louder you gargle and the more intense you gargle, the greater activation of the vagus. So we don't want to just be casual. You want to wake your neighbors. You want to scare, like try and shoot for the ceiling. I do it in the shower. So you can be really messy, and you could choke even, like, you choke, that's even more stimulation of the vagus nerve. So you can actually just fake choke, like, that's a vagus nerve exercise. You could do where you do the gag reflex. You just take a tongue depressor. Unless you have a history of bulimia. If you have a history of bulimia, definitely don't do that. But other than that, you could definitely do the gag reflex, which will stimulate the vagus nerve, getting you in a relaxed state, reducing stress, reducing anxiety, reducing the activation of your adrenal gland. When you reduce the activation of your adrenal gland, you get energy. If you have the sympathetic nervous system overfiring, you're going to get what's called adrenal fatigue. Adrenal fatigue comes from this dysautonomia, this dysfunction of the autonomic nervous system. So if you want energy, so I know a lot of my patients come to me and they say, oh, 2, 3, 4 o'clock, late in the day, I lose all my energy, I crash. And what that is, it's called adrenal fatigue, because during the day, instead of being in a relaxed state, your adrenaline's going and you're using up all your energy. So by 2, 3 o'clock, there's no more gas in the engine. Yeah, it's usually like an hour or two after lunch. There's just no more energy. It's called adrenal fatigue. And if we want to get out of adrenal fatigue, we have to increase input into the vagus nerve. All right, so you're going to do that through gargling. You're going to do it through choking, fake choking. You're going to do it through the gag reflex. Another good thing, which I already told you guys about, is cold water on your face. So the neuroscience was done with research where you dipped your head in a bucket of cold water at 50 degrees Fahrenheit. That's what the neuroscience has proved to rewire your brain. So if you have a thermometer, and not a mercury thermometer, hopefully, you measure at 50 degrees Fahrenheit, which is pretty cold, and you dip your head, you just get a bucket, and you dip your head for 30 seconds if you can. You know, if you got to breathe, get up every 10 seconds or whatever it is. But as your lungs get stronger, you should be able to hold your breath for 30 seconds. You don't have to get your hair, just your face, because it's for this facial area. That's where the nerve endings are. And that's going to stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system, helping with anxiety, dealing with stress. I know it seems weird, shocking your system with the cold water is actually going to reduce stress, but yes, it will. And it'll re-energize you. Believe me, I never need a cup of coffee. After I do a cold shower, you don't need coffee. You're ready to conquer the day, especially if you're screaming at the same time. When I do the cold water, I scream, it helps. If you're not screaming, it's like you suffer. It's like, you don't even feel it. You scream, it really helps. Screaming is good for your vagus nerve also. Laughing is good. You just go, that's an exercise. You're using those vocal cords. Singing, just so you know, practicing singing. You know, everyone, you might realize this, when you sing, your anxiety reduces, right? But now you know why. The neuroscience is because it activates your vagus nerve. It's actually therapeutic. Your tongue. Ever see Michael Jordan play basketball? He sticks out his tongue. He's stimulating his vagus nerve. He's focused. He doesn't want anxiety and stress and his mind going all over the place. It relaxes him. See, Stephen Curry, I'm speaking in the 90s, but now you have Stephen Curry. You guys know who that is? He's like the best basketball player. He's always sucking on his mouthpiece, stimulating his vagus nerve. You ever see these kids who are all stressed out? They're like, you know, licking. Anything with the mouth is going to actually relax you. And you could do silly stuff. You go, that's going to stimulate the vagus nerve. You could use your tongue. At our office, we put a peripheral nerve stimulator. We actually do electrical stimulation of the tongue. And that activates your vagus nerve via this hypoglossal nerve, which is anatomically connected to it on the brainstem. So we have all these neuroscience ways to strengthen this parasympathetic nervous system. Another thing is called your tragus, this little part of your ear, not any other part of the lobe, but this little part. It's called your tragus. If you stimulate that tragus, and you can just rub it with your two little fingers, that's going to activate the parasympathetic nervous system. I had a patient who's she's actually a supermodel. She had a chronic headaches for years, ever since she got her period. And she was a teenager. And I told her to pierce her tragus. And her mom didn't want her to get piercing. She's like, oh my God, she's so innocent. I said, this is a medical reason, so I think you should let her do it. So she was so happy because she was begging her mom for piercing. So she got the tragus pierced, and within a week, her migraines were gone. And she had it for years, ever since her period. Now, it's only for migraines that are caused by this autonomic dysfunction. So these are, people who get nausea and vomiting and light sensitivity. Those are migraines. So there's lots of different headaches. People have stress and tension headaches, where you could have, too much, like your blood pressure is too high, or your muscles are pulling too tight, or your neck is out of alignment. That's a cervicogenic headache. Or you have cluster headaches, which are caused, maybe some people like smoke cigarettes or alcohol, like, bad stuff in the environment. So there's all different types. You get sinus headaches, people who have allergies in the season. So depending on which type of headache you have, each thing requires a different type of treatment. So when I have people with sinus headaches, I do this. I have an activator instrument that I click on these little sinus points to help release the toxins. And then we do homeopathic remedy, where I do these little droplets with my patients, and it's like a little bit of dust particle, a little bit of mold, a little bit of cat, a little bit of dog hair, a little bbit of pollen, a little bit of dust, a little bit. So all the common allergies, milk and gluten and corn. And so you get a little bit, that's what homeopathy is, where you get like a little tiny bit of it, and then your body builds up a resistance. So when all the pollen comes or the dust comes, you don't have any reaction. That's the best way to take care of allergies. You never want to do like all these Claritin and all that medication. You really got to heal from within. So you want to strengthen your diet and get rid of all the bad foods. So the bad foods are dairy products, gluten, corn, soy, coffee, alcohol. Those are the really inflammatory foods. So we want to avoid sugar replacements, avoid all those inflammatory foods. And you want to take the homeopathic remedy, and we want to activate the sinuses. And you could also do like a neti pot. So you could literally get rid of allergies and sinus headaches pretty easily. For the muscle and tension headaches, you got to do a few things. So you got to release the muscle tension. So I do what's called active release technique, where it's painful, but where I dig my thumb into these muscle spasms, and I move the arms and neck in positions, and so I can get deep in there, and I break up the fibers. It's like breaking up scar tissue. So it's a little painful. Some people like it. They like the pain, and then some people want to kill me, but it works. So if you can handle it, it's therapeutic. Then there can also be a misalignment in the neck. A lot of times we see the atlas. When the atlas bone is out, then you're going to get a headache, what's called a cervicogenic headache, coming from the neck. For that, we have to do manipulation, either with an instrument or my hands, where I actually adjust the neck and put the spine in the right position, and that gets rid of the headache. For migraines, and there's only 50 people in the whole world that do this, it's called insulfation technique, where I put this little hose in your ear and I pump air into the ear, and it gets rid of the migraine on the spot. Now, the migraine is the one with light sensitivity, nausea. You might even get really like a point where you throw up. I had a patient yesterday that came with a bad migraine. It was her first day. She just came for an evaluation, And I said, oh, well, you're here. Normally I don't do this. I normally just do the evaluation on the first day. But I said, since you're here and you have the migraine, I'm just going to get rid of it right on the spot. And she laughed at me. And I said, no, literally in 10 seconds. And I said, I'm going to take this hose. I'm going to pump the air into your ear and it's going to get rid of your migraine. And she laughed. Literally, I did it. And her migraine, she's like, it's gone. I had to rate it like 1 out of 10, 10 being the worst migraine ever. 0 is nothing. She goes, it's a 7, 8. This morning it was even a 9. And then literally after I did my pump, it was 0. And she was just in shock. And I said, now that's not going to prevent future migraines, but it does fix the migraine on the spot. To prevent the future migraines, she's got to do a lot of work. She's got to change her diet. She's got to increase her water intake. So for water, you're supposed to drink half your body weight in ounces, right? So if you weigh 120 pounds, you got to drink 60 ounces. And beer doesn't count, and soda doesn't count, and coffee doesn't count, and tea doesn't count. It has to be water. And you want to drink without food. You have to drink at least a half hour before you eat for the water to get absorbed best, right? So even when you're taking with supplements, that doesn't count either because it's with food. So when you drink your water, you got to do it with an empty stomach. That gets the best results. That gets the best absorption. A lot of people drink water after they eat. That's the worst thing to do because then it makes it harder to digest. So you want to drink before, and that kind of even lubricates your intestinal tract to help with digestion. It also fills up your stomach a little bit to help with weight loss. So you end up not overeating. If you drink a glass of water a half hour before each meal. The most important time to drink, which I'm sure a lot of you guys heard, is right when you wake up, right? You want an empty stomach right when you wake up, okay? So I do 2 glasses right away. Then you do a half hour before each meal. Half hour before breakfast, half hour before lunch, half hour before dinner. And then before you go to bed, I do another one as well, okay? And you should be able to drink a glass of water right before bed and not have to wake up and pee. If you do wake up to pee, that's not a problem with you drinking water. It's a problem with your autonomic nervous system because your organs aren't working properly, right? Your bladder's not working properly. It's not holding the urine. Once our brain develops, right? So babies, they have to wear diapers because they pee their pants at night. But as your brain develops and your autonomic nervous system becomes stronger, you're able to go the whole night without peeing your bed. But if you do have to pee, a lot of times your brain will say, okay, I don't want to pee my bed. So it'll wake you up and then you have to go pee. But if your brain's really strong, you hold your full bladder until you wake up in the morning. Okay, so you might have to train your brain to do that first. And these exercises that I'm telling you are training your brain and rewiring your brain. Got it? All right, so other exercise to stimulate your parasympathetic nervous system are breathing exercises with a facial rub. So the facial rub, there's 3 parts. You go from your chin to your ear to that little tragus part. Then you go from your cheek to your tragus. And then you go from your forehead to your tragus. Okay, now you're going to do it with the breathing exercise. So you're going to inhale for 4 seconds. Then you're going to hold it for 7 seconds. Then you're going to exhale for 8 seconds. So you got to practice that. So you got to make it last the whole 8 seconds. So a lot of people, when they do breathing exercises, they say, okay, focus on a big, deep inhalation. You really want to focus on the really strong exhalation. The exhalation is the most important part. When you inhale, you actually stimulate your sympathetic nervous system. It's actually going to put you more in fight or flight mode when you inhale. When you inhale, your heartbeat's going to even increase. You probably could feel it. If you guys take a big breath, you can kind of feel your heart even getting more stress. When you exhale, that stimulates your parasympathetic nervous system. That's going to relax your heart. It's going to decrease blood pressure. It's going to decrease your heart rate. So you want to always exhale twice as long as you inhale. That's why you're inhaling for 4 seconds and you're exhaling for 8 seconds, because you want to get rid of the carbon dioxide. That will help with stress. That'll help with anxiety. When you have carbon dioxide, you create an acidic environment. It's going to mess up with your energy. It's going to mess up with your focus, your memory, your brain function, your sleep, brain fog, everything. So we got to get rid of the carbon dioxide. So we really got to focus on the exhale. You got to get rid of every last breath. And when you get rid of every last breath, you're also helping nature, right? Because the plants and the trees and the grass, they love the carbon dioxide. So you get rid of it for you. Our bodies don't like it. We want to get rid of it. And you give it to the flowers and you give it to the trees. So you're giving to the world by really focusing on your exhale, and you're going to help yourself, because then when you get rid of all the carbon dioxide, now you have more room for oxygen. So now your lungs are going to actually be able to take in more oxygen, not because you're breathing deeper, but because you're actually pushing out and you're exhaling better. So kind of get your mindset in that way, that start focusing on the exhale, because that's going to stimulate your parasympathetic nervous system. That's going to get rid of the carbon dioxide. That's going to get you in a relaxed state. That's going to help you sleep better. That's going to get your brain functioning at a higher level. And when you get really good, you extend, you count slow. So in the beginning, you might have to count pretty quick, 8 seconds, but then as you do better and better, you make it longer and longer. So you really, if you do second per second, if you could get where you inhale for 8 seconds, hold it for 14 seconds, and then exhale for 16 seconds, then you know you're at a really high functioning level. And what you do is you work up to that. First you start out 4, 7, 8 this week. And then next week, you go up an extra second. But you want to get up to 8, 14, 16 eventually. That's going to really help with that parasympathetic nervous system. And then remember to do it with the facial rub at the same time. It doesn't have to be in any order specifically. You can definitely do a wide variety as well. So that's going to help the parasympathetic nervous system. Also, swishing air all around your mouth, humming at the same time. That's going to stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system. I'm giving you guys all this easy stuff. You can do it at home. It's completely free. You don't have to buy supplements. You don't have to go doctors. You don't have to take medication. You don't have to take sleeping pills, melatonin. You don't have to take anti-anxiety, valerian root. All your healing power is right up here. You can do it. You just have to work for it. So if you do your own work, you don't have to see anybody. You can heal your body yourself, but you have to do it. You got to put in the work. So I'm not the doctor that says, okay, take this supplement to help with anxiety, or take this melatonin to help with sleep. That's still a medical mindset where you're taking a pill for a symptom. I'm a very different type of doctor. I'm a functional doctor. What we do is we get to the root cause of the problem. And then if you fix the underlying root cause, then you heal yourself and you don't have to rely on any external pills, supplements, herbs, medicine, surgeries, injections, IVs. We don't need any of that stuff. You really don't. If you take care of your body, you never need a multivitamin. Does anyone take a multivitamin? Yeah, you don't need a multivitamin. You just got to eat food. If you eat each color of the rainbow, then you get all your vitamins. So you have to eat something every day. I make sure, that's the one thing I do, is make sure I eat something that's red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. I make sure I cover all those colors every single day. If you're trying to lose weight, it's the easiest way to lose weight. You literally just eat each color. You will have no appetite. You don't get hungry. You don't desire anything because you're getting your nutrients. So you're not going to eat, 20 million chips. So when you're eating, a bag of potato chips, there's no nutritional value. So you could eat a million of them. You're eating a, M&M bag or something. There's no nutritional value. So when you eat, bread, right? You realize, I could eat like a whole loaf of bread because there's no nutritional value. If you eat foods with nutritional value, your brain's not going to want to eat anymore, and you're not going to desire it. So, but you got to get your nutrients. It's when you have no nutrients, then your brain's hungry, and you might eat chocolate, or you might eat sugar, or you might have a donut, or you might have a croissant, and you think that it's good, but it's not good. It's just that you have no nutritional value. So if you have all your nutrients, you're not going to desire any sugar. You're not going to desire any candy. You're not going to desire any bread or pasta. So it's not like you're missing anything. Because remember, we said those are the worst foods. The dairy products, the bread products, the pasta, all those grains, the coffee, the alcohol, the corns and everything, popcorn, corn chips, corn wraps, corn oil, it's in all the dressings. Yeah.
Isn't the corn genetically engineered?
Yep, genetically modified. The seeds are really bad. It's sprayed with glyphosate. You guys know about glyphosate, Roundup. So most countries have banned Roundup. Yeah, Monsanto, which is now Bayer. So Bayer's a pharmaceutical company that bought out Monsanto. Monsanto is the most evil company. They produce all these genetically modified foods. They spray with all the chemicals. They're responsible for that Agent Orange in Vietnam, which killed all those people. So they are the chemical, corporation, and they spray all our foods with these chemicals. So now the pharmaceutical company bought them out. So it's like they get you sick with all their food. And now because you're sick, now you have to take these medicines. So now they're double dipping. They're taking all your money. You're spending their money to buy their food. And then when that food makes you sick, then you have to take that medicine. So it's an evil plan. So what we have to do, buy from local farmers. Don't buy these from big corporations, and find local farmers. And yes, they might not be completely organic, but that they're not spraying. You want to make sure, hey, you're not using Roundup or glyphosate. Make sure they use the safer type of sprays. They do a lot less. Even organic stuff has chemicals on it, so it's always better to buy organic versus conventional. If you're really worried about the finances, then the most important organic stuff to buy are ones where you eat the peel. Right? So if you're eating like a strawberry or a grape or an apple, so you have to buy those organic, but something with a big peel like a banana or an avocado or watermelon, the chemicals aren't as likely to get into the fruit. So if you want to save a few bucks and not buy everything organic, the ones with the big peels, you can kind of skip. But the ones, anything like blueberries, strawberry, anything where you eat the whole thing, make sure you get organic. You got to pay the extra money. It's worth it because either you're going to pay doctor's bills later on, man. So you want to reduce as many chemicals as you can. So what about dairy? How come we shouldn't have dairy products? You guys know why? It's a very simple answer. Because we're not cows. That's it. Right? So when we're babies, we're supposed to be breastfed by our mothers. So human milk is made for humans. For babies. Cow's milk is made for baby cows. So the only reason people drink milk is because it is an advertising and marketing gimmick by the dairy industry, who hire celebrities with milk mustaches to tell you it does a body good, and then people get brainwashed and think that milk makes your bones stronger or it has calcium. And there's absolutely no scientific research that shows people who drink milk have good calcium levels. In fact, they find the opposite, where people have less calcium who drink more milk. And there's no research that ever showed people who drink milk have any less rate of osteoporosis or osteopenia. So there's no research that shows milk does any good.
Two things.
Yes.
I just drink a little milk at night because it has tryptophan in it. It helps you sleep. And where do you get the B12? I'm a vegetarian. I've been a vegetarian for 59 years.
Right.
So that's the cheese. I eat cheese and milk once in a while, just once a week or something.
Gotcha.
But where do I get B12 from?
So with B12, what you have to do is you look at your blood. What we have to do is just look at your blood work. So that's the key. So I was a vegan for 15 years, and I never had low B12 because I just eat all the colors of the rainbow. You have to check your blood work. All right. So if people are low on B12, most of the time, about 80% of the time, it's not because they're not getting it in their food. It's because they're not absorbing it properly. So they don't have enough stomach acid. Same thing with iron anemia. So B12 is anemia, iron's anemia. So you have these anemias. And people, when they're anemic, they start supplementing. Here, take an iron pill, take a B12 pill. But if that's not the underlying cause, you're not gonna fix it. Most people are nutritional deficient because they don't have good absorption. So you remember the beginning of the lecture, we were saying if you're not in the fight or flight, you're in the what? Do you remember?
Freeze.
No.
Fight, flight, fight, or
Right. If you're not in the fight,
digest.
right, you're in the rest and digest. Exactly. So the digestion isn't working properly. So you're not producing stomach acid. Most people that have absorption issues have what's called hypochlorhydria. Hypochlorhydria, decrease stomach acid, hydrochloric acid, decrease stomach acid. And guess what happens if you have decreased stomach acid? Your immune system becomes weak. Your stomach is your immune system. If you have stomach acid, when you touch somebody and you shake their hand and they have coronavirus, and you accidentally touch your mouth after you just touch someone with coronavirus, you're going to swallow the saliva, and the saliva with coronavirus is going to go into your stomach. And if your stomach acid is working properly, it will kill your virus. If you have a bacterial infection, the stomach acid will kill the bacteria. If you're exposed to mold or yeast, the stomach acid will break it down. If you have Lyme disease, the stomach acid will break it down. People who suffer from Lyme disease, mold exposure, bacterial infections, viral infections, almost always have hypochlorhydria, decreased stomach acid. Yes.
How do you kill the fungus in the fingernails?
Well, the fungus in the fingernails, it's not about killing the fungus in the fingernails. The fungus in the fingernails is the fungus in your body trying to escape.
Oh.
So you don't want to kill the fungus in the fingernails, you got to kill the fungus inside. And that's what I'm saying. The stomach acid will actually kill the fungus unless you have leaky gut. You've heard of that, guys? So if you have leaky gut, your stomach's going to be inflamed. And even if you have the stomach acid, the bacteria, the virus, the fungus, the yeast, the parasites, the worms, they're going to escape out these big holes, the leaks in your gut, and they're going to enter your bloodstream, and they're going to attack your brain, and they're going to cause brain fog and headaches and dizziness. They're going to attack your skin. They're going to attack your joints, and you're going to get joint pain. They're going to attack your thyroid, and you're going to have hormonal issues. They're going to attack your stomach, and you're going to get celiac disease. So they're going to attack your body. So what we have to do is actually reduce the inflammation, and then we could heal the leaky gut, and then the acid could kill off the fungus or the virus or the bacteria. So it's work. Remember, I always told you guys, I'm not the doctor that gives you the pill, but I'm going to teach you what you specifically have to do to heal your specific problem, whether it's a leaky gut, whether it's anxiety, whether it's trouble with sleep, whether it's depression, whether it's brain fog, troubles with memory, your immune system, your energy. So we got to get to the underlying cause. Yes. Well, people don't have too much stomach acid. Why do you say that? That doesn't mean you have too much stomach acid. That means your acid is moving in the wrong direction. So when you have acid reflux, that does not mean you have too much acid. What it means is that the acid that you do have isn't going in the right direction. It's going backwards. So it's going back the wrong way. And if it's going back the wrong way, that means you're putting stuff in your body that is hard to digest, which is probably one of those 6 things: dairy, gluten, corn, soy, coffee, alcohol. You don't have any of those? 0? You're mostly, okay. Coffee is the biggest cause of acid reflux. You have coffee how often? So you literally have coffee every day. I guarantee you, if you go 6 weeks without coffee, you will not have acid, as long as you're avoiding those other stuff. And your acid, what? If you stop the coffee, ulcers, you have to make sure you eat frequently. right? So you might be going long hours and you might have high stress levels. If you go long hours without eating and you have high stress levels, that's going to cause ulcers there. So like I said, I treat everyone as an individual. So someone else, I might not tell them to get off coffee. You have acid reflux, I'm getting you off coffee for sure. All right. So I treat everyone as an individual there. But if you do all those right things, you will not need to take any antacids. You will not get any symptoms. Your life will change for the better. In the beginning, you're going to hate me and you're going to get headache and you're going to be anxious and you're going to yell at people and you're going to be cranky and your sleep's going to be all messed up. You're going to get those rebound headaches. But if you get a headache, that tells you you have to get rid of it. If you went 6 weeks without broccoli, you are not going to get a headache. If you go 6 weeks without an apple, you're not going to get a headache. If you quit alcohol, you're going to get a headache. If you quit coffee, you're going to get a headache. If you quit sugar, you will get a headache. If you get a headache, that's telling you that's no good. Yes. No, it's all processed. We want to stay away from processed foods. You really just want to have food from the earth. You want to eat like they did when they were the hunter-gatherers. So you hunt, you can catch your fish, you could kill a chicken, you could grab your fruit from the tree, you could grab the berries from the bush, you could grab the carrot from the roots. So live like, there's no supermarkets. But just imagine if I were in the earth, when you're shopping, hey, can I just literally take this from the earth? If not, don't have it. If it's in a box, a can, a bag, you got to stay away from all that. When you're in the supermarket, you got to stay on the outside where everything's fresh. Growing up, and I'm not that old, I'm 43, but growing up in the 80s, every day we had just home cooked meals. There was no preservatives, it was literally, and that wasn't that long ago. Like literally, it was just fresh food. And now it's like everything's, once the microwave came and everything's processed and everything's quick and we need action, nobody's got time to prepare food. And now the mom's working and the dad's working. And so like, there's all these excuses, but I don't care. Wake up earlier to prepare your meal. Do what you got to do because it's your health. Nothing's more important than your health. So if it's convenient, it's probably not healthy. If it's already pre-wrapped and bagged and preserved and could sit in your closet for 10 weeks, it's not good. My wife gets annoyed. Oh, the strawberry molds in 3 days. Good. I don't want a strawberry that could be in my fridge for 2 weeks and doesn't mold. I don't want that. That's horrible. That means it's not getting broken down in your body.
What do you think about irradiated foods?
What do you think I would think of that? Of course. So there's a lot of radiation in food. If you guys eat fish, you don't want to eat the fish in the Pacific Ocean because of the Japan nuclear meltdown. So all the foods and even the vegetables have made it to California. Like you don't want to eat the California food because it's all radiated from the Japan nuclear meltdown. So you want to get your foods from the Atlantic, from the Mediterranean, from Icelandic, from Norwegian, stuff like that, rather than the Pacific. You don't want to get the Alaskan stuff because that's very close to Japan. You don't want to get the Chinese, obviously, but anything in the Pacific Ocean has a lot more radiation. So ways to reduce the radiation, what's caused brain inflammation. You turn on your airplane mode. So whenever you have your phone, don't put it on. Always have it on airplane mode. So you don't get Wi-Fi signals, you don't get cell phone signals, because everyone else has it on, so you're going to get it anyway. But if it's on you, don't have it. If you have to use your phone, you literally just press airplane and then you could use your phone. You got to look something up on the internet, you just press it again. It's literally instantaneous. So there's no reason not to be on airplane mode. You're not going to get anything quicker by having it. And, you want to focus, like, especially you're here, focus on the talk. Don't worry about what people are texting you or Facebook or calls. So it should be on airplane mode anyway. So you are practicing mindfulness. That's very good for anxiety, practicing mindfulness. So mindfulness is when you're in the moment, right? So you guys are looking at me, you're in the moment. You're not thinking, oh, what's my next talk? What's my next booth? You're totally focused on this talk. When you're eating, you're focused on eating, the smell of the food. You're chewing 35 times and you feel it in your mouth and the texture, and you feel the swallow and you feel it go down. And So you're you're not eating and watching TV at the same time or reading the newspaper. So you'd be focused on eating. Whatever you do, you're exercising. So when you exercise, you're focusing on the muscles activating. You're going for a nice walk. You focus on your stride. So being mindful is being in the moment and not being distracted by all these external thoughts, right? So we're in this New York City, in the city that never sleeps, right? So there's a lot of distractions. So we got to shut off those distractions. And you can practice, like you can practice walking in the street of Manhattan. And I do this all the time. I'm just going to focus on the person's steps behind me. And it's hard, but then because there's all these other noises. But if you focus on that, you're shutting off the police, you're shutting off the fire engine, you're shutting off the people talking, you're shutting off the horns honking, you're shutting off all these external thoughts and sounds because all your focus is on the footsteps. And that is a brain exercise to get you in that relaxed state. We have about 70,000 thoughts a day, the average person. The average New Yorker has about 140,000 thoughts a day. So we got to actually decrease our thoughts. And you could listen to music and just focus on the bass guitar. And then you ignore the drums, you ignore the piano, you ignore the lyrics, you ignore the guitar, and just focus on the bass. That, and then you'll see the bass becomes a little bit loud, and all the other instruments become a little bit, and then you switch. Next time I listen to that same exact song, I'm just gonna listen to piano. So it's a brain exercise, kind of cool. And what you do, it's working on shutting off everything. And when you shut off everything, your brain doesn't get as stressed, doesn't think negatively as much, doesn't get distracted. You keep focused, you improve your memory, and you reduce your anxiety and your depression, and you don't think all these horrible things that might happen. You got to turn off the news. Don't watch the news. There's literally no reason to watch the news.
What about Fox News? That's pretty
No,
awesome.
don't watch any news. All news creates anxiety. There's literally, can anyone give me one reason to watch the news right now?
The weather.
Don't go to weather.com. You do not, but you could look at your newspaper that morning and look at the weather. You do not need to read the news. I mean, you can go outside and feel the weather. You don't need, to watch the news to tell me it's raining. I go outside, I see it raining. I go outside, it's cold. I put on a coat. You don't need to watch the news for the weather.
Political news.
For what?
The Virginia governor's race.
Okay, so you just go up and you call the Virginia governor and say, okay, no, literally, you could, or you go if you have the internet.
I don't have a computer.
Okay, but you could go to a library that has a computer for free and you Google who's winning the Virginia race. That's it. You don't want to hear a perspective from Fox News on who should win the Virginia race. That doesn't matter. But if you're interested in the Virginia race, you literally go to the library, go on the Virginia State website and see who's winning the Virginia race. You want to know what China's throwing up in the space right now? You go and you look up, you go to the library, you go in the newspaper, you go on the computer, and you say, okay, what is China doing? But if you watch the news, they're trying to make you angry. They're trying to make you fight. So, just because even if you believe in Fox News, they're trying to make you angry at the people who are making you get vaccinated or whatever. It's like, or making you wear a mask. That's my favorite. So they're still trying to get you angry. They're just trying to get you angry at these people. These people are trying to get you at them. They're both trying to get us angry. Nobody's trying to save your life. Nobody's trying to reduce your stress. I write for my local newspaper. My local newspaper will tell you, oh, the Boy Scouts did a hike at the local park. The senior citizen have a guest speaker. The local library has a painter that's going to show you their latest painting. The local high school team made it to the county finals. The street fair is happy. It's all nice, local, happy stuff. But the real news is all horrible stuff. Yeah.
Hi, I want to go back to milk, the dairy foods.
Yes.
What about cottage cheese, yogurt?
That's all dairy.
I know. No, good,
So remember we said why not to eat milk?
right,
Why?
because most of the baby cows.
Right, baby cows. So anytime you put a dairy product in you, your body says, I'm not a cow. What the hell is this? And then it starts trying to destroy it, but then it destroys other healthy tissues as well.
Even the bacteria with the good bacteria for your stomach and all that?
Yeah. Definitely bad. So that's a marketing gimmick. Here,
So Bonnie,
eat this marketing, eat this yogurt and you'll get probiotics. It's a marketing scam. Never buy anything on a commercial. Never buy anything on a commercial. What's on a commercial? Doritos, Coca-Cola, Bud Light, McDonald's. Nothing good is on a commercial. Have you ever seen a kale commercial? No, because people know kale is healthy. You're not going to see anything that's healthy on a commercial because they're marketing. They're trying to convince you that this is good for you. If it's good for you, you don't need convincing. You don't need to see it on a commercial. You know, oh, Quaker oatmeal, Frosted Flakes, Pop-Tarts, everything that you see on a commercial is unhealthy. Unless you listen to the government. The government says Pop-Tarts are healthy. The government says Frosted Flakes are healthy. You know why? Because they're fat-free. So they say if it's fat-free, it's not healthy. You know what they say is unhealthy? Salmon, because it has fat. They say avocado is unhealthy because it has fat. So they made fat the enemy instead of sugar. Sugar is the enemy. But the sugar industry said, oh, we don't want us to be blamed. So they buy out the government, and the government says fat is bad. So when they make the food pyramid, they have fat being the least amount of food you should eat. And on the bottom are the dairy and the grains. So the government, we should flip it, and we should eat lots of fat and stay away from the dairy and the grains. So we want to get rid of all that stuff. Got it? So don't eat dairy products, nothing, no yogurt, cottage cheese, no creamy sauces. We got to stay away from all dairy because you are not a cow. All right? So just eat food from the earth.
Is almond milk any better?
yeah, I was just gonna ask about it.
Are you an almond? No, I'm
That's
just
from
kidding. I'm just kidding.
California.
No, almond milk is better, but
That's
the almond milk in the store is crap. It's like basically all water and it's filled with crap in there. So if you want to make your own almond milk, yes, that's great. So you soak almonds overnight and then you put it in a blender and you just put it in water and you get your own almond milk. So it's just almonds and water. But if you're going to buy stuff in the store, you're not looking good there.
Breeze.
No, it's all that stuff. It's all crap. It's all crap. You got to make it at home. You want to make tea? You make it at home. You get it. Actually buy ginger and you put it in a pot and you boil ginger. Like actually make your own tea. You can make apple cinnamon tea. You actually cut an apple, put some cinnamon sticks in it, and you make apple tea. Like everything you should make from your own. You don't want to buy things in these boxes and cans and bags. That's more preservatives, more chemicals, more processing. It's harder this way, but it's healthier this way. So we got to live old school. Like I said, we gotta suffer a little bit. You know, when it's cold, we got to be a little bit of cold. And you know, sometimes it's okay to be a little hungry. If it's 8 o'clock at night and you're hungry, don't eat. You know, the worst thing for your sleep is eating at night. You want to stop eating 4 hours before bedtime. So if you go to bed at 10, you got to stop eating at 6. And you also want to get rid of electronics because they blue light. And blue light is going to stimulate cortisol, which is the stress hormone, which is also going to cause belly fat. It's going to interrupt your sleep. It's going to cause more anxiety. So 4 hours, you want no electronics and no food before bed. That's going to make your sleep much better, improve your energy. It's going to reduce anxiety. Go out for a walk at 6 o'clock so that the brain sees the sun going down. So instead of eating a big dinner at 6 and then watching TV, go for a nice walk, read a book. When you come home, turn down the lights, dim the lights, shut off your computer. So the light, so if it's 8 o'clock at night, the lights are on, TV's on, computer's on, your cell phone's on, your brain's like, I'm going to be on. It's not going to relax. So you got to dim the lights. You got to turn off the electronics. You got to go outside so the brain sees the dark skies and says, okay, it's nighttime, time for me to relax. Now I could get a deep, restful sleep. So sleep isn't about just being in bed. It's actually about your brain shutting off. So you might be in bed, but because of all the stimulation, if you just watch the 10 o'clock news right before bed, you're not going to sleep well. All right, I have to finish up. Yeah. Yes, I have a book. It's called Boost Your Brain Power. It's a guide to improving your memory and focus. I have a lot at my booth here in the corner there too. It's $20. If you buy it though, there's a coupon in there where you could get these evaluations where I do what's called a QEEG. It's a brain mapping. I don't know if you guys do the EKG for your heart. So I'm a neurologist, so we have what's called a QEEGs for your brain. So you wear this swimmer's cap and we actually measure all your brain waves. And it says, hey, do you have anxiety? Do you have trouble with sleep? Do you have depression? Do you have trouble with energy? Do you have memory? So it measures out your brain waves. It's normally $300. If you get my book, there's a coupon there and you can literally get it for $5. You can literally get it for $5. It measures, I have 2 offices. I have one in Manhattan in the West Village, office 6 in Bleecker. And I have one in New Jersey, in Emerson, Bergen County, close to Paramus, by where all the malls are and stuff. So we have the QEEG in both areas as well. You're also, just by coming to this talk, if you come to my booth after, you're entitled to a free, but you got to do it right now, one-on-one session with me, where you come to one of my offices. I spend about 45 minutes to an hour with you. We go over your blood work. We check your blood pressure, check your heart, your gut, your posture, your alignment, your strength, your eyes, your ears, your brain, your balance, your memory. It's a complete neurologic and physical exam that's normally $400. If you sign up today at my booth, you get it for free, no obligation, but you just got to put your name and schedule it today. So that's just a gift we're giving to you guys. Yeah, bring the blood work to me. If you haven't done it, then I'll write you a prescription. You can go to one of my labs and get it done.
Medicare said they wouldn't cover the blood work. I had to pay $763.
Well, whenever you go to blood work, and if you're on Medicare, you say, what?
I'm the regular doctor. Ran, the
right.
CDC,
So this is, if you ever are getting blood work.
Cholesterol. My cholesterol was too high.
Got it. If you're ever getting blood work and you're worried about insurance, you just call the lab and you say, I just want to make sure you take this insurance. So,
I got hit with the bill.
okay, but what I'm saying, to not get hit with the bill, you call first and you say, do you take my insurance? That way you won't get hit with the bill. That's what I'm saying, to prevent that. What's my what? Oh, I don't even do other booth numbers. Yeah, it's on this floor. It's just I'm in the corner there. I didn't even know there was a booth number. But yeah, there's not that many people here. I'll be there. I have like a wheel spinning. You'll see. Or if you just want to follow me after I'm done, come out here. So we also have what's called a hyperbaric chamber. You guys heard of that? So a hyperbaric chamber is 100% oxygen. You can get that. It's normally $125. You can get it today for $5 as long as you sign up. So you literally, you sit in there an hour. It's 100% oxygen. And what it does, you increase the pressure and you feel like this pressure in your ear, like you're going on an airplane, and it squeezes the oxygen in your lungs, squeezes it in your heart, in your brain. So it's like a chamber of oxygen. It's really cool. And then we also have infrared laser therapy, cold laser, where we do it on the brain and different body parts as well. So we have all these different services. You guys should take advantage of it for today, because they're normally, like I said, hundreds of dollars, but you can get them, most of them for free or for $5 there. All right. Any other questions?
Yeah, all of these tips that you gave,
Yes.
Is it in a book somewhere?
Some of the tips that I gave are in the book. The book are the 17 best ways to improve memory and focus. I did talk a lot about anxiety today, and I talked about depression, and I talked about energy, and I talked about, other stuff besides that. So some of the stuff is in the book, but not, I wouldn't say all of it. Yes.
You do people's auras?
No, I don't do people's auras, but I call it, like, there is a medical aura, which is, we all have electromagnetic radiation coming from our bodies. All right. So we think about like Wi-Fi having electromagnetic radiation, but our own bodies have electromagnetic fields. Okay, we do. And for me as a healer, my electromagnetic field is much bigger than the average person because my healing power extends. So what I do every morning is I get the power from the sun, and then I give my healing power, and I go literally the whole world. Not many people could do that. Most people is literally just within a 6-inch space, but I literally heal my patients. I heal my family. I heal people in India. I heal people in Australia. So I have a healing energy, and you might call it an aura, but I call it, that electromagnetic field where I help people. And remember, you said the mind is powerful. So with my wife, I was saying, we're going to get rid of this cancer. I cured her, not even in her own body, because I believed it. So with my patients, I believe they're going to get better. They have Parkinson's. I see they're going to get rid of their tremor. They have Alzheimer's. I'm going to improve their memory. They have balance problems. I'm going to prevent their falls. So I need you guys to believe it, but I also do it for you. So even if you don't believe what I'm saying, I put that in the universe, and it occurs anyway. Sort of kind of what you're saying, I think. All right, any other questions? All right, guys, I hope you learned a lot, and follow me to my booth if you want to set up for those free evaluations, and if you have any other questions, okay? All right, good job, guys. I recorded it, and it went live streaming. I don't know, possibly. Usually they do, but we'll find. We can ask Mark that. I don't know if he's putting it on a CD.
That's going to have a DVD of the conference.
Right.
Is there other, there are other ones this time?
Yeah. All right, guys, you did really well. It's a lot of info, right? Well, if you come to my booth, and we'll share us your email, we can send it to you. Rose, how are you?
How are you?
Pretty good. Good to see you.